talked about being on this elbow, on this iliac, on anything where it's scarp, and I connected to the hip bones because it's actually a really good way of building connection. So here I'd be low. It might be that he's managed to frame and stop me off of the guard pass, but he's basically got himself flat. I had somebody ask me in the seminars, like, why aren't you showing anything where you're on your side? It's like, well, if you're on your side on bottom, like, you've really not got too many problems. So I'm not really interested in that. It's not going to help you as much as if you've ended up getting stuck flat, which is the big problem. So the sort of worst type of cross side for most people is where you want to come down, because I'm going to do it to camera, so we've got it to camera, and that way people shouldn't have an excuse not to know this stuff, or at least have seen it. So I don't like this type of cross side at all, but it's very common elsewhere. So it's kind of like quite heavy on isometric in that it relies on me squeezing. I'm not really using body weight a lot of the time here very efficiently. And I've got knees on the mat as well, so he doesn't even look that bothered. But what people will start to try and do is they'll start to try and put pressure through that shoulder. And so the first thing that we want to be looking at with this is getting that pressure off of our chin with this shoulder. So there's a few options. One is always be looking to put your chin, if you can, early on to your shoulder before I get this established. So if he can turn to the near side shoulder, it's actually going to be, although it'll be unpleasant on his face, it's going to be hard for me to get going. And he's also then going to take this, he's conceded the underhook here, he's going to take this hand and he's going to try and fully extend like a jab his arm and then put it to my far armpit. Try and grab my armpit. Yep, and now connect your elbow back to the ground. Right. And you don't have to use loads of strength for this, but just like basic connection. And so now this is kind of, I don't really have the same pressure on his face. Even if I try and he can, every time I try and smash this, he just extends and reaches further. Yeah, and he's trying to basically pull that shoulder away from my, yeah. This is only a temporary measure, but that's the basic gist of it. He can also bring his elbow to my iliac. So if I'm smashing, if I'm trying to put my iliac into it to put weight in, so this is just temporary frames. But every time I'm smashing his face, he extends. And here he should be able, because there's this great big space here, to start wedging his knee. From here, he can push into me and start putting me back in the guard. Yeah? So both my shins are on the ground here. I've got an underhook. I'm cross-facing him. I'm smashing. And I might be trying to put all that weight on that side through. And that's kind of the basic gist of it. Again, I'm going to be looking with this to go more towards guard because of essentially how I've got my legs shaped. I'm not doing anything from the top. One problem with this position is I'm not doing anything to stop him pulling guard, really, apart from trying to smash his face and stop him turning that way. So the whole thing here is predicated on he can't get to his knees because I have an underhook, right? So if he tried to get to his knees here, that's not really going to happen. I've got a lot of pressure on this shoulder. So he can't really get to his knees because I have the underhook. But there's big space here. Yep, so take that knee out. So I would need to, in order to do something here, like this elbow needs to be mindful that I'm not switching here. This is the other thing they'll try and do, which is where this elbow's out, and we can come on to this. But for now, so that's where it fits in the major thing, but for now, we're just gonna get this position. He's gonna extend that arm into my armpit, try and connect his shoulder as much as he can to his near side shoulder as well, with his chin to shoulder. Yeah, he's gonna try and use those two things. I can put on more pressure if he asks me to, you know, but this is, there we go. And so he's gonna look to just hip out a little bit and edge that knee in. Pushes away, extends himself away, puts me back in the guard. Yeah, let's give that a go. We'll just get warmed up with that, like 3 for 3.